Caregiver.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Will, at some point, can we put in the chat or something where the YouTube replay is? Is that possible to do that maybe?
Yeah, I think we can do it. Casey, you throw it in there. It's on, we have a YouTube channel called Will Being, B-E-I-N-G. Speaking of which, Casey, I'm gonna see if I can make you co-host too. And Michelle. There we go. So welcome to Spiritual Sunday. As you're popping on, we'll get started in another minute. I'm gonna wait to 10:05. Meanwhile, if you can, it is not mandatory, but I'm gonna tell you, as somebody that does Zoom meetings all the time, it is a totally different energy when I'm just not looking at me. I ain't that good looking. So if you could turn on your videos, it's like we can't be there in person. So if you went to a meeting in person, it's not like in the meeting, you'd be like this. So even your mute, when we get to the discussion point, you can take it off. You can take the hand off the mouth so we can make this more interactive, or you cannot. But don't be talking trash about me if this is boring. If you didn't show your video, give me none of that energy. Only Akil, Michelle, Chris. That's my mama too. My mama, you better not talk about me. You only got one son. Look, this is as good as it gets, mama. As good as it gets. Brittany, thank you. Turned on the video. Appreciate that. That's right. Cool. So today we're going to talk about healing yourself. AJ's in the house. Hey, AJ. Devon, too. Saul. Always a pleasure. So today we're going to talk about healing yourself. And that's a topic, wow, that we could probably spend all day. So what I'm going to do is, there probably are different reasons why you decided to be here today. You could be just one of our regulars and you come every Sunday and you like the vibe, or it could be that you came here for a particular reason. It could be for you. It could be that you know somebody else and you're trying to help them get through, because some problems we can't help other people with. They have to be able to heal themselves, to help themselves. But if you're in that darkness, if you don't have a bright enough light that can shine through, how can you help guide someone? And that's what we're going to talk about today, either for you or for somebody else. But it's such a wide, big topic, right? Such a big topic that if you have a particular area that you want to touch upon, please put it in the chat, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to just let the spirit flow. We're going to do some impromptu stuff today. Michelle, I stole something from your page today. I don't know if you can steal something spiritual. If you can steal something spiritually, I done stole it. All right. So this morning, like out of nowhere, so I wake up at 2 a.m., 2:30 this morning. All right. And when I got up, I started to meditate, and the meditation started to become a channeling section. So now, like I'm in my meditation room and I'm just writing all this stuff, just like whoosh, whoosh. I'm like, what are y'all doing? I can't put a PowerPoint together for all this stuff. Not today. You look, next time, you guys got to RSVP a little earlier, spirits. I'm just saying. So Saul got her camera on today. Look at Saul. Yay. Devon, I see you got yours on. Kiesia, way to go, way to go. All right, again, you don't have to. But I don't know. I just like seeing people. I like seeing your auras. I like to know, like, if you're like, yeah, that was horrible. Okay, I'm not going to use that one again. I like to know stuff like that. So what I want to do for some of you, it may be the first time that you are here. And also for others, now would be a cool time if there is something you want me to cover today? Something you want to touch base? Because I got my partner in crime, my sister. There's nothing that rhymes like brother from another mother. There's nothing cool. My sister, don't miss her. I don't know. That's the closest I got. So Michelle will be coming on too as well and sharing her thoughts about healing yourself. And she is a master at it herself. So cool. So you unmuted, Michelle. So I'm going to shut up for a second, see if you have something to say.
Well, you say you stole something from my page, which I freely share anything. I didn't even know what page you were talking about. I have a page.
I channel. You got a page. You're like a channeler.
Oh, like my Akashic record page? Like that kind of page?
Well, no, you know, like how somebody channels. I channel.
The
joke isn't funny, Michelle, if I got to explain it. It's just that funny. You could have left it. You like pouring salt in the wound. Okay, tell me again about that boring thing you said. Skip it.
I'm so sorry. I'll go back to mute.
I'm gonna take that sister role right back. Give it the salt. Salt would make me look bad on the jokes. Okay, if this is your first time being here, please, I want to give you an opportunity to give a shout out to yourself. You can tell us your name, spiritual background, like, you know, Christian, Buddhist, just spiritual. Why today? If there's a particular area that you want us to touch upon, and for those of you that is not your first day, you're here. You showed up. You were present. There are a billion other places you could have been, and you chose to be here. So what should we talk about? And you can send it in private chat. You can put it in public chat. You just chat. Just chat. Now I'm going to try to hit all the spots that we talked about on the Meetup landing page, the different things that will have it so that people want to heal themselves. So you have physical, you have mental, you have emotional, you have spiritual. Yeah, that's a whole lot. So I'm going to try to go through, but if there's a particular area, a particular space that you want to dive in and us spend time on, then we can do that. Otherwise, I'm just going to roll with what the powers that be gave me today to talk about. So, Irene, I see you have your hand raised virtually. I don't know if that's on purpose or by accident. Okay, so that's accident. So there's a button that says lower hand. I think it's under reactions. You can see that. Anybody else? Is this your first time and you want to speak? Brittany, come on, go ahead. You can just unmute yourself and hop right on it.
Hi, everybody. This is my first time on Meetup, and I just came across this. I feel like it was alignment, of course. I'm here because I'm kind of in a weird space navigating being away from New York, even though it's been a whole year since I haven't been in New York due to the pandemic. It's just like I'm just missing my life of what it once was. And I'm an artist, so like where I am now is not as, I feel like, fulfilling me right now. So my vibrations are a little low. So that's why I'm here. And my name is actually pronounced Brittany, but you can just call me Brit for short.
Brittany, got it. I like it. The emphasis.
Thank
and
you.
Brit. I have a cousin. We call her Brit. So I'm down with the Brit. I can do that. Brit, thanks for being here. Welcome. We're so glad you're here. And because you spoke up, I'm going to talk about that first. Healing from past, healing from a life that we once had, and how do we go forward? See, that's what's up, Britt. Okay, anybody else? All right, let me take a look at the chat real quick to see if we have any special, I feel like a DJ. Any requests, any special requests? Other than for me not to sing anymore, Kevin? Okay, so there we go. So I think we're good to go. So let's move forward. What I want to do is let's get everybody connected together first. So we're going to have a meditation to get grounded within our group. So if you just close your eyes and focus on your breathing. Just take a deep breath, inhale, exhale. Now, with your eyes closed, allow your mind to go in any direction it wants to. And as we move forward, listen to my voice and allow my voice to guide you for us to connect together. As you relax, I want you to think of somebody, something, or somewhere you love. Think of somebody, something, or somewhere you love. Okay. Now, keeping that in mind, focus on your heart. And put your left hand over your heart and then your right hand over your left. Continue to breathe and continue to think of that thing, that person, that place that you love. Now, notice that with each heartbeat, it's like a spark of light. And as you feel or see that light in your heart, imagine that the light goes down. Send the light down from your heart, past your waist, through your feet, directly into Mother Earth. And with each inhale, imagine that as you exhale, the light goes further and further into Earth. Until it reaches down to the center of the Earth. Inhale, and the light comes back up to your heart in a second. Exhale, and the light goes down to the core. Sit there for a moment, feeling the exchange of love from you to Earth and from Earth to you. Now, focus back on your heart with the connection still to Mother Earth. And on your next inhale, exhale, imagine that the light from your heart goes up through your neck, through the top of your head, connecting to 60 feet above your head. Just set the intention to send light up 67 feet and trust that your higher self, your intuition, will take you there. Continue to breathe in light and love. Now, connecting with everyone that's here now, everyone that watches on YouTube, everyone that watches today or tomorrow. Send light and love to everyone in this group. And feel as the love travels past time and space, and what you send out comes right back to you. And smile as you feel the love coming back. From this place of love and connection, I will say a mantra, repeating it 3 times. And in your mind's eye, in your own mind, repeat the mantra, replacing any words that make you feel more comfortable. God, Source, Heavenly Father, Intelligent, Infinity. Whatever words that resonate with you. Oh, Heavenly Father, we love you, and we know you love us too. We are one. Oh, Heavenly Father, we love you, and we know you love us too. We are one. Oh, Heavenly Father, we love you, and we know you love us too. We are one. As children of God, we command opening our eyes, ears, and mouths in a divine way. As children of God, we command the opening of our eyes, ears, and mouths in a divine way. As children of God, we command the opening of our eyes, ears, and mouths in a divine way. It is done. It is done. It is done. Now, bring your consciousness back down from 67 feet above and letting it rest peacefully and safely back with your heart. And as we bring this grounding meditation to an end, shake your hands, move your neck, wiggle your body, and then open your eyes. Okay. We're now all connected. As you are coming back to yourself, I'm going to remind some, and for Britt, who's new, talk about our purpose. So we are light workers, and we believe that positivity, light, love, all the same thing. And once a month, we meet the first Sunday of each month in order to meditate. We have a global meditation with peeps from India to Nepal, Ghana, USA, all over. Kentucky and DC. And once a month we come together believing that when a group meditation happens, so much more powerful, so much more can be done, that different things happen, like crime rates go down and love spreads abound. And we also have classes, free classes on Sundays, where we go over a variety of different topics, like today. we're going to go over heal yourself. So that's what we do. Our goal is to help people to learn how to meditate and to get as many people meditating as possible. So with that, let's jump in and let's look at today's agenda. How to heal yourself. How to heal yourself. And from healing yourself, there are so many different ways that as human beings, we can get hurt, either through self-pain or somebody does something to us or just life in general. So I'm going to go down these to remind people, because not everybody sees the meetup, right? The description. So I'm going to go down these, and these will be the ones that I cover. And as we hit different things, they're going to be certain techniques, spiritual techniques that we're going to talk about. So if you are a ride or die for someone, so let me tell you what that means. That means you are not a fair weather friend. You are the one, this is what my mama used to say. My mom used to say, I'm the type of friend that you call when you have to make a body or bury one. So if you are somebody who everybody goes to for advice, well, that can be draining when you're giving up all that love all the time, especially if some of your friends maybe are emotional vampires. And they're the kind that when you get around them, they have energy, they have light, they have love. But as soon as you creep away, they're like, oh, it's so dark, because they're just going off your shine versus them being able to kick that in. So I want to talk about that today. And a lot of that has to do about having your crown chakra lit. And we're going to explain that. Another thing is, and by the way, that first one, you have to heal yourself because, energy, you have to be tapped into a source that comes to you and then you send it out. If you're just sending, then that's going to set you up for illness, for getting sick, for getting tired, for getting cranky. So the second one is a caregiver. A caregiver is you have somebody who is sick, not doing well. And caregiving is extremely draining. And you have to look out for people who are caregivers too, because many times they get as sick as the person they're taking care of because their body, their heart, everything is draining. If you have a parent, even as a child, there's some people who they have to be more of an adult than their parent. And that's very draining. That's a caregiver. If you have someone who is in your house and you're having to take care of them because they have special needs, that makes you a caregiver. So you may call yourself mother, wife, sister, brother, cousin, but at the end of the day, you're a caregiver, and you have to be able to heal yourself, to give yourself energy and love. You could be a coach, a teacher, a parent, a mentor. I have to look out for this myself because I'm coaching and mentoring people every day, and especially people on my team, because people are only with you when they're with you. They don't see all the other people that you talk to long after they're gone. So if you're the chief person that is mentoring people, like parents don't really have a day off. Well, you could, but that's called child abuse, I think. That's what I'm thinking. So when you are a parent, a mentor, or a teacher, you have to be careful too. I'm not saying hold back your love, but you just have to make sure you have a source that replenishes you as you go through, okay? And then friend or confidant, we kind of talked about that. Toxic relationships. You may need to heal yourself because you're in a bad relationship. It could be physical abuse, it could be mental abuse. I turned 50 next year. So when I was growing up, the physical abuse was the one that was talked about most because they had that movie Burning Bed. I don't know if anybody ever saw that, but basically this woman's husband was like beating her tail, and she's like, all right, I'm I'm gonna fix you. I'll go ahead and go to sleep. Go to sleep. So it was really getting out about physical abuse, because I'm going to tell you what, when you have someone who cannot win verbally, normally they tend to go to trying to win physically. So physical abuse isn't the only thing that's out there. We also have verbal, and that's traumatic too. How many of you ever heard of this saying? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's a damn lie. I know some words that hurt me. I got Jones on when I was a kid. I was short and like black. So I got joked on a lot in the neighborhood where we were at. So you have to learn how to joke back. But before I learned how to joke back, like I can joke with the best of them now. But before I learned that, yeah, that sucker hurt. Some of it still hurt a little bit. Like, you know, if you're on social media and somebody don't like your post or something like that. So how do you heal yourself from toxic relationships where maybe over repetition, over time, people have said something or called you something or demanded something, and repetition builds belief. Repetition builds belief. And I think, Britt, I think that's the second thing I want to talk about. I think I'm going to talk about that one today, second. And then after that, burned out, stressed out, or maxed out. Whew, that's a tricky one. What's the difference between burnt out and stressed out? I'm going to tell you, they both feel the same until you try to get up. And when you're unable to get up, that's when you realize I was burnt out. I wasn't just stressed out. So how do you heal from that? What can you do? What are the signs to be able to see? Because back in the day, my wife used to say I had the martyr complex, that I would give and give and give and give until I had nothing to give anymore. And that's stupid. It's like if you're on an airplane, they tell you, hey, put your mask on first, then try to help that little baby. Okay, the baby is crying, put your mask on. So you got to help yourself first if you're going to be able to help anybody else. Well, we're going to have two casualties going on up in here. And then the last one, needing to forgive or forgiveness. Whew. That's a big one. I'm going to tell you some stories too. I'm going to tell you some stuff like, what? You forgave them for that? How did you do that? And yeah, I'm going to tell you that and also how I did that. So that's what we're going to roll through. So first, let's talk about the first topic in terms of you have to heal from what once was, is not now, and may not ever be again. So let's take a situation like COVID, the pandemic. If you are a people person, this last year and a half, year and 3/4, it sucked. I really don't know anybody, people person on that, that's just like, oh, this COVID thing was awesome. Like everybody's struggling at some level. So the first thing to understand is you're not alone. You're not alone. At any time we go through any type of interpersonal conflict or trying to come to grips with our feelings, our emotions, I like to use three questions that I ask. And if one of those three questions, the answer is yes, then that tells me what I need to do. And it comes down to me, you, it. Me, you, it. If I have an issue with someone, if something's going wrong, or if I find that my emotions are extremely high because I'm missing something or somebody, or I'm upset about a certain way, I ask myself first, is it me? Is it me? Am I too sensitive? Is it me? Did I do something wrong to this other person? Because if it's me, then okay, I should feel bad if I did something to the other person and try to rectify it, right? You can't heal until you admit, all right, it's me, it's my fault. We know that. We know people that never admit when they're wrong. I'm not going to admit that. Okay, well, you stay hurt then. So the first question is it me? And if it's with an individual, and I say, well, no, it's not me. They're just funky with everybody. It's not me. They're just mean to everybody. Okay, it's them, it's you. So now I know I don't have to hold it as much. If you have in-laws, right, that didn't like you from the jump, if you had a coworker that is just nasty to everybody at work, if you have somebody in your school or college or neighborhood, and it's just a bully, or they're just a jerk to everybody. So when it happens to you, you can heal by knowing it's not me, it's you. And some people, they're not a jerk to everybody. And you know you didn't do anything. So it's a possibility it's it. And it is COVID. It is the pandemic. It is the isolation. It can be financial problems, financial issues, something that makes somebody act differently than themselves. Is it me? Is it you? Or is it it? Because if I know it's it, then that makes it a little bit easier for me to heal myself. I used to work in Bethesda, Maryland. And one day I was driving, because I was in Baltimore, for those of you that are around, living in Baltimore, had to work in Bethesda. That's a hike, okay? If you're not from here, if you're from India, just imagine walking from Delhi to Mumbai. Okay, not that bad, but it's a hike, okay? So I'm driving, and this jerk, like, is speeding. And I see, you know how you, like, oh my goodness, look at this person. Look at this person. This person's coming up. And I was like, and then cut me off, right? Oh, I was some kind of mad. It wasn't Spiritual Sunday. It was Cuss You Out Tuesday. I'm just going to say it. I'm just telling you. I'm keeping it real. I'm just telling you. So I was hot, right? So I sped up a little bit, maybe. Just because, you know, anytime somebody makes you mad on the road, you kind of got to drive it just to look over at and be like, yeah, that's what a jerk would look like. Mm-hmm. That's exactly. But I never got up to, I saw the car, and amazingly, that car got off at the same exit I had to get off at. And then when I got to my parking lot, yep, that car was in the parking lot too. And I was like, what's going on? And then when I got to my office, because I was a trainer for IT recruiting firm, the person that I was supposed to meet with in the morning, that was her. And her kid had gotten in an accident, and her cell phone had died. And she was rushing, trying to get to the office so she can find out what was going on with her kid. Who was a jerk then? I felt like a jerk. I'm like, oh my goodness. I cussed this lady out in my mind, up and down, left and right. All right, how dare you? But what would I do if I was in that situation? So when you say, is it me? Is it you? Or is it it? And it is a situation. Then we start asking ourselves, what would we do? What would we do if we were in that situation? So if I'm judging my shell, right? I'm judging my shell based on what Will would do, right, wrong, different, or whatever. I'm judging her based on what I would do. But if I was born on the same day as my shell, to the same parents as my shell, and grew up in the same house as my shell, and fell down and hurt my knee the same time and date and place that my shell did, and went to the same school as my shell, and I looked exactly like my shell, then on this day, at this time, I would have made the same decision as my shell. So that thought of you never can really judge somebody till you walk a mile in their shoe. You got to walk the whole race. Because us looking at somebody and saying, oh, well, I wouldn't do that. Well, you probably was raised right. You're your brother was raised right, or you had an experience that taught you, a soul experience. Everyone, even the worst of us, is doing the best they know how. I know that's crazy. You're like, think about it. Nobody wakes up and says, oh, I'm going to try to F up everything today. Everything. For the time I get out of this bed, I'm going to F everything up. That's right. I'm going to have me a flawless F'd up day. No. Everybody is doing the best they can and they know. So when we're able to look at people, places, and things from that perspective, remind ourselves that that's what happens. And there you go. I'm going to teach you a meditation technique. You don't have to do it now, but I'm just going to describe it to you. If this is an area that you need to be able to get over quickly when someone hurts you or abuses you. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to put up with another hurt and abuse ongoing. I'm talking about it's like a hit and run, or they're out of your life now, but you're like, I still got this residual damage, just all this mess here. What do you do? So in the beginning, I did a meditation, all of us together, right? Where we thought about something, someplace, or someone that we love. And when you do that, it's powerful. So all you have to do is, let's say you have somebody who you have beef with, they hurt you, you need to heal from that. You can do the same thing, tap into that thing, that person, that place that you love. And then once you're there, that's a safe spot. Once you feel that, the heartbeat, boom, 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 boom. It gives you that security, that safety, that spiritual shield. And then all you have to do is imagine that the person that you are upset with is in front of you. It's in front of you. And then once you see them, then just slide them off to the left in your mind. And then project someone you love and see the love, see the memories you have from them. And then take that person that hurt you, bring it back over, and then let it get so big, the combining of the two, that they morph into one. All you need is love. And that love grows so big. And it's contagious. It's more contagious than the COVID variant. It is. And it bleeds and blends into your impression of the other person. And when you separate the two out, you'll see that the love you had for one has now affected the other. And now your heart's in a position, in a place to not only heal, but also to forgive. Something else that came to me this morning, like a channel, and I can't think of a better place to talk about this and put this in now. Healing yourself. What came to me today, and it was described as being a devotional. It also pulled from Chinese philosophy of yin and yang. I know, go figure. Here you go. This is what they said. They said that daily we should worship God, and daily we may worship ourselves. Now, growing up the way I grew up, that sounds a little crazy. I'm supposed to worship God, a deity, an entity, the great I am, and I'm supposed to worship myself. So I went with it, and kept listening and asking. And what continued to come was, what is worship? Worship is remembering. How do you worship God? Does it mean, oh, God Almighty, you're so good. You're so good. Yay, go God. It's like, okay, it says worship, don't be a cheerleader. But you need some spiritual pom-poms. G-O-D. It's not like that. Worship is remembering. So if you're going to worship infinite intelligence, then you think about the wonderful things that were made that exist with infinite intelligence. You think about the rainbow. You think about a beautiful person that's created. You think about worship is remembering the best stuff, remembering the best stuff. So when it came to worshiping yourself, how did that relate to healing? And first of all, is worshiping yourself okay? Like, I want to make sure I don't have like some jacked up guardian angel gonna get me struck by lightning or something. He gave me that bad advice. God, you gotta kill him. The feedback I got was worshiping yourself. Worship is the same thing. It's remembering greatness. It's remembering greatness. So when you worship yourself, not in a vain way, like I'm better than you. That ain't worship. That's ego. Worship is, I remember the best of me. I remember the beauty in me, because, I was kind of raised, you don't worship nobody other than in God. But what came back to me was, well, if we're part of God, aren't we God? Just like if you take a drop out of the ocean and you do a chemical makeup, you're going to get H2O. Whether you're doing it directly from the ocean or that drop that's put in your hand. So remembering the greatest part of you is also honoring God. So this is where the yin and yang came in that they told me about, that truly healing yourself, healing your heart. It's a combination of having one foot in worshiping the divine and another foot in worshiping the divine in you. That when we're no more, when we're gone, when we're deceased, when we're dead, whatever you call it, you ain't up in here no more. When you go away, it's not what we call our sins and the bad stuff that gets thrown in our face. It's the beauty. It's the love. It's those wonderful things you did. Like I said, nobody has a day where I'm 100% F up today. So we all have the beauty in us. So our ability to focus on the beautiful helps us. So let's take a look at the past. Nostalgia. It could be a relationship that you had, and for whatever reason, that relationship is no more. It could be, I remember when I could go to concerts and slam dance. I don't even know if slam dancing is still around. You slam dance somebody today, they might lock you up. Y'all, he was hitting me with his body repeatedly. No, that's slam dancing from the 90s. Get your Axl Rose. But if you look at a past life, meaning that life used to be different for me, and you feel that pain, then it's the same thing as if it was a person. You look at what's there now that you can love. What's there great now in your life that you can love? And you put your hand over your heart. You focus on that thing that's here now that you can love. And then once you got that, then you just imagine the personification of whatever is hurting you, like a time loss. Imagine a clock and the feelings that's there. And then you take that love, okay? Take that love of what you have in life right now, right here, and then you combine those two together. You let the love of the present overshadow that emptiness that's inside of you. And then you separate them out. That's meditation. It's not the traditional sitting there going, oh, mommy, let me see if I can put my foot around my ear. You know about that. So different ways you can do it. It's kind of like, let's say somebody who's never seen a car before, all of a sudden sees me sitting in a car listening to the radio. And they're like, oh, this big machine is what people here use to listen to music. That is such an understatement of the capabilities of an automobile. You and I both know an automobile can do so much more than that. Well, it's the same way with meditation. Anything that you miss, you can fix. Anything that's broken, you can heal. And sometimes if something lasts with you a little bit longer than what other people think is normal, there's some other things we can look at. So let's take this a little deeper. If you lose your mother, if your mother dies, how long should you be upset? How long? When will people start saying, oh, her mother died 5 years ago. She needs to get over that and get on with her life? I don't think there's any time limit for when you have a drastic loss like that. But what I do think is that the healing can't start until the wounding stops. The healing can't start until the wounding stops. If you cut me with a knife, I'm like, ow, that hurts. All right. Well, the way the human body is set up, I'm going to start to heal. But if you keep cutting that same spot, I ain't going to heal. So when you need to heal yourself, first need to start looking at how can we stop hurting ourselves again and again. And when you're looking at the past, when you're looking at something that once was, or someone that is not here anymore, and you're focusing on what you're missing and what you don't have, that's hurting yourself. As opposed to choosing all the beauty, all the lessons that were learned, the positive memories. It's a subtle shift, but it starts with a conscious decision. And you saying, I allow myself to heal. I allow myself to smile again. I allow myself to find a new way to thrive. Even if you're missing a pastime, like how things were before COVID, or if you have to move from someplace long away. I give myself permission to be upset. I give myself permission to heal. You go in stages. Nothing should be rushed. If it's a loss of a loved one, a loss of the past, a loss of a relationship, there's nothing wrong with having emotions. Some people think, oh, you just shouldn't get angry. Oh, yeah? What if a child was abused or raped? I'll tell you what, I'll be angry. You should be angry. So it's not that anger is wrong. It's that when you let something consume you that you never get right, or never help make the situation right, or never help uplift somebody else because you're still caught up in something else. So we have our emotions so that we can work through things, but you have to give yourself permission to work through it. Okay, so let's look at what we talked about so far. Me, you, and it. From a technique standpoint, if you have interpersonal problems with somebody, if you find that you may be taking something a little bit too personal, more, it hits you more than you thought. Me, you, it. Is it me? Is it you, the other person? Or is it, the situation? When it comes to missing the past or forgiving someone, we looked at, think about somebody you love and then bring them up and then combine the two. And then you can separate it and then boom, there you go. When it comes to accepting that you have pain over a situation, give yourself permission to be in pain. Like I, for 1 year, played around with controlling my emotions. So if I was upset and it was real bad, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna allow myself to be upset for 7 days. I'm not gonna hold it back. I'm not gonna like, just gonna cry it out. I'm gonna cry it out. Showers are great. Like the water's coming down. Like no, showers are great. You just cry it out. But I put a time limit on how long I was gonna be upset. I chose that. So when the 7 days were up, I put music on. I didn't sing though, Kevin. I just danced. I did those things that would put me in a good mood. I would try to go out and help somebody else. That's an excellent way to heal yourself. And I know it's counterintuitive because you're like, hey, you just told me to put the mask on if I was on the plane. Well, in this particular case, sometimes putting the mask on is helping somebody else. If you're like, I don't have a job, I need some money. Well, how many people did you try to help get a job today? Any problem that we have, we can ask, how have I tried to help somebody else with that? And until we say we tried, there's some issues. I had a friend of mine who went through a real tough time. And she wanted to know, why is this happening to me? I'm trying to heal from this. And I thought I was fine, and now I'm back in this again. Well, the feedback that came back from a reading was that she was focusing on something that wasn't the right thing to focus on. She wanted to stretch. So the universe caused her to stretch. And she was like, wait, I didn't want to stretch like this. So some of the problems that we have because we asked for it. Some of the hurt that we had to heal from. If you're like, I want to become a spiritual giant, well, you got to go through hell to get to heaven. You just do. Everybody want to go to heaven. Nobody wants to die. Is there a fast track to heaven or spiritual enlightenment or something? I'll pay extra. That ain't really how it works. If you want growth, you got to go through pain. Look at any great person. I mean, we're used to seeing the highlights, but you got to go through the valley. You got to go through the valley in order to get to the great stuff. Okay. I'm going to take a quick peek and see anything else. Yeah, I think that's it. So, Michelle, I'm going to go to you in a second. There's one thing that we talked about, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, which was the crown chakra. So for those of you who, most of us heard of a halo. A halo is when you have like a circle behind you. Enlightened people, you see they have halos depicted in there. Well, what I uncovered was that this halo is really the crown chakra, and that there's a way to activate your crown chakra, and that for most of us living today, that crown chakra is not turned on. And we went over exercises you could do, because when your crown chakra is turned on, you're able to heal better, quicker. Imagine this. Imagine if you had a kindergarten student who obviously doesn't know calculus, and you say, okay, I want you to build a bridge. It's like they don't even know calculus. So if you're trying to heal yourself and you're going through some deep pain and you keep finding no matter how much you try, you're unable to get it, well, maybe something needs to be enlightened, opened, initiated. And in many cases, it could be the crown chakra. Now, Alex Gray. See, I'll stop this right here. Alex Gray had a picture that I saw this morning. And Alex Gray is an artist. I'll stop my video for a second to reach up and grab, because I think this would be rather rude. Here we go. So this is Alex Gray's picture. So he is an artist who sees spiritual stuff. And you'll notice that right here, this is that halo portion. And this right here, and I didn't realize it until today, this morning after meditation, and that's the pineal gland. At first, I thought it was the third eye, but it's not. Alex Gray was drawing the pineal gland. And that crown chakra itself, for most people, is only this thin layer right here, because the different points aren't connected to the pineal gland. And the pineal gland is the bridge to our soul. So if your crown isn't activated, if this light isn't on, isn't shining, you have a dark soul. So people who, murderers, serial killers, right? They have that light out. Human beings in general, over time, we have gotten to the point where we're not connected, the pineal gland, for the rays that are coming through to shine. Because it's not like there's just somebody has a spotlight behind your head. Like, ooh, look at that divine spotlight. No, it's like encompassing your entire area. So dark soul people, yeah, it's not connected. They don't understand. Narcissists, people that go around hurting people a lot, they're not connected. They don't understand. Yeah, people who have post-traumatic stress disorder, all right, they're suffering, right, because these images are coming to them. It's dark for them. It's dark. And as light workers, being able to shine light in people's lives and teach them how they can meditate to start bringing that light back, connecting the pineal glands and rays. There are things that we can actually do to help people versus, I'm going to pray for you. All right. Okay. What else? You got anything else in your bag of tricks? There are other things that we can do to help bring these light and turn it on. I'll give you this analogy, and then Michelle, I'll turn it over to you and see what feedback you had. There were these two boys that were playing on a tree, and they began to discuss and then argue and physically fight over who could climb that tree the fastest. And in the middle of them getting ready to throw down, this man walked up and he said, "What are you all fighting about?" And they said, "Well, we're fighting over who can climb the tree the fastest." And the man said, I wonder who made the tree. And they were like, and he walked away. And then they started to discuss, who do you think made the tree? Then they started to argue, who do you think made the tree? Then they started to fight over who made the tree. So that man helped raise the consciousness of the boys, who at first was just trying to figure out who was the fastest. Then it became a little bit deeper and the consciousness got raised, but they went right back to fighting. That's kind of like mankind, I think, that from time to time, we have spiritual leaders that come that help us to raise our consciousness, our awareness, to help us raise the light, raise our game. And then we fall back into some other stuff. I think you look at any great spiritual new age guru around today, and you really just have a good preacher, a good priest, a good monk, a good rabbi. But after a while, we stopped trusting the people who were delivering the message and it infected from which the source came from. So collectively, as human beings go on, and we all need to heal, we hope that somebody else comes along and helps us to raise our consciousness. So maybe the next person that comes along to raise the consciousness of others is you. Is it me? Is it you? Is it it? And if it's it, and it's the pandemic, and it's COVID, and it's whatever world calamity, from Greece having fires to West Coast having fires to the financial crisis that people go through, it's causing all of us to talk more to each other, to love ourselves, and to try to help others by loving them. So any situation we can look at and we can ask, what's wrong with this? Or we can ask, what can we learn from this? How can we grow from this? How can we use this as an opportunity to help someone? And if we do that, or at least focus on that, we begin to heal. Michelle?
Good morning. Thank you for that, Will. That was amazing. I was getting a lot of messages as Will was talking to add to his points. And I took a few notes in hopes to remember everything that he was saying that can add to this. So what I was getting was, one, the topic of healing, is Will has shown us, is so huge because there's so many aspects of healing. So they're just going to touch on a few different things. One, if you learn to trust your intuition, your gut. Now you can do this, a daily meditative practice. We've talked about this many, many weeks in a row, but a daily meditative practice helps you connect with your own intuition. But the hurts that many of us get ourselves into come from not listening to our own intuition. So for example, if you have an opportunity to move, let's say, Britt, you have this opportunity to move somewhere, and you were very excited about the move in your gut, then that is you trusting your intuition. If you had dread about the move, but when you did the checklist in your head, and the checklist in your head said, well, it's better money and it's a lower cost of living and it's maybe more opportunities in the future, but your gut is not saying that, your head is saying that, that's not trusting your intuition. This is just an example. Let's talk about another example. Let's talk about relationships. Let's say that you're in a serious relationship and it's time. Are you going to get married? Are you going to get out of the relationship? Maybe you're thinking, I'm going to get married because that'll double my income, or I get a tax break, and everything lines up. I like their family. But your gut is sort of saying, I don't really know. So your first prevention of hurting is to listen to your gut, your intuition. Because when you don't listen, you get down a road that causes yourself some pain, because then you have to get back on the track that you're supposed to get onto. So they're recommending first get used to following your own personal intuition to prevent yourself from some painful situations in the future that you're going to have to heal from and to fix. So that's one. Two, let's say that you're really good at following your intuition and you think you've made the right decision. You're not sure, but you think you have, but there's still some pain in that decision. Then there are a couple of different things. One, you need to say, is this happening to me or for me? Well, they want you to know that every single thing is happening for you. It's all happening for you. Nothing is happening to you. Nothing. It's showing you what you need to see. So when you're in a situation that something's causing you pain, you have to ask yourself, why is this happening for me? What am I supposed to be learning here? How am I supposed to be growing? How is my consciousness supposed to be expanding? It's always happening for you. It is never happening to you. So they want you to, when Will talked about me being a master at healing, when it comes to physically, I'm pretty good at that. And I talk about this a lot sometimes. When I was in my head-on collision, I was just driving down the road, minding my own business, and this girl crossed the center line going 70 miles an hour, and I was going 55, and she hit me head on. Now, a lot of people would call that an accident, and they would definitely say it was not my fault. However, I've been in the spiritual game too long, and I didn't see it like that, not even for one single day. I thought of this as, why is this happening for me? This didn't happen to me. This happened for me. Why is this in my life? How am I supposed to learn and grow and change? Now, if there's something painful in your life, you need to ask yourself, how can I become better? Now, another thing that they really want to bring home, they talk about a lot. I don't know if we talk about it here, but it comes up in my readings a lot, how precious this container is. It's a precious, precious creative space. And you're so creative. You are so powerful. Every single one of you are so powerful and creative. And you have to be very mindful about what you allow in this space. Now, when it comes to grieving something, that's a natural process. You are going to grieve. As Will was saying, there is a natural, you can't, if you lost your mother, you're going to be sad. And there's a time period that has to pass. However, if it's a nostalgic pain that has really been going on too long, and that is, as Will said, that's a hard thing to figure out, how long it's too long. How long am I going to be sad? A homesickness. How long am I going to be sad about a relationship that I know had to end anyway? What they want you to know is you're allowing the wrong things in your head. Now, this is, again, happening for you for a reason. There is a lot of magic in the present moment. As a matter of fact, they tell me every single day, every day they tell me there is magic in this moment that you can't see. There's a twinkling in the sky. There is love in just the atmosphere that you aren't plugged into. And why? Because you're filling your creative, beautiful space with thoughts from the past or worries about the future. So when you have a nostalgic pain, maybe that is a trigger for you to say, what is happening in this very moment that is perfect, that is beautiful? It's exactly what Will touched on. What is going on right now that is perfect? That nostalgic pain is more of, pay attention to the thoughts you're allowing in your head. You're allowing yourself to think about things that have no relevance anymore. They're not really relevant anymore. Now, again, if you had made a wrong decision down in the past, maybe that's happening for you so that you rectify a poor decision. And that just comes again from some meditation, from some soul searching, and you can ask for guidance, and your team can guide you back on the right track. But and they want to talk again about self-love. They cannot talk enough about self-love. Unfortunately, we are taught that everyone should come first, and that selfish is wrong. And again, as Will said, it's only wrong if you're stepping on somebody. It's only wrong if you're knocking somebody out of the way to get in front. But it's always right to put yourself first, to love yourself more. There's no amount of self-love that's too much. And they have told me many times in the past that if there was an appropriate amount of self-love, there would be disease would almost be non-existent. It is impossible for dis-ease to fester inside your body when you love yourself as you should, but no one really does. There's just so much light in your body when you have enough self-love that casts out those dis-ease, those festering problems. And lastly, there's a big topic here, but they just want to quickly cover. Be okay with saying no. Be okay with following what your body is telling you. A lot of you, I don't know if they're talking to 2 people here or if they're talking to 4 or 10 of you. I don't know, but it's coming through really clear that when you say yes out of guilt, out of because I should, or I'm going to look bad, or they're not going to like me, or whatever, you are saying no to yourself, and you're causing a dis-ease within yourself. It doesn't have to manifest. Don't think that they're saying it's going to manifest into a disease, but you can understand when you're saying yes to something, when you want to say no, you're saying no to yourself, and you're causing pain within yourself that needs healed. You have to be okay with being 100% true to you. You have to be true to you. Don't agree to do a lot of things out of guilt, because someone else told you that was the right thing to do. Trust your intuition. Listen to your body. When your body says stay home and rest, say you can't go and help move furniture. Your back hurts. You can't go move furniture today. You're going to have to say no. Do it. Trust it. There's a lot of sources of pain out there. They just want to be really clear that if you get in the habit of listening to your own intelligence, if you embrace that you are God, just as Will said, if God is the ocean and you pull out a handful, that's you. You're still ocean. You're still God. If you embrace that you are powerful, that you are creative, that you can choose the direction of your life, and you start listening to that intuition, there's going to be a lot fewer painful situations in your future. But if there are painful situations right here in front of you, ask yourself, what can I learn? How can I grow? How can I become better and learn from that situation? Did we cover?
Yeah, you covered a lot. And you covered some things that I wanted to bring up and I forgot. So that shows they were meant to come out. I think what you said about saying no is huge, especially for most of the people that are in our group, right? This is the light workers. I mean, people aren't coming here because we hate people. So that means we're loving and we're trying to give, and we hate when we're unable to help somebody out. But just think about it. When I had a kid, I realized that I had to be able to learn how to say no, because if not, my kid ain't gonna make it. Or, Daddy, can I eat cake every day? No. All right. Or, my kid ain't gonna make it. Daddy, can I go running out in the street with my eyes closed? No, my kid isn't gonna make it. So sometimes saying no is a bigger gift than saying yes, because some people need to go through tough times in order to grow big. So how do you know? How do you know when to say no? Well, you start by asking your higher self, what should I do in this situation? And the first answer that comes to your mind, that's the right answer. But what happens, like, I don't know, can I trust myself? Well, what if? So I heard no, but then, well, maybe not no, maybe it should be yes. And then the next thing you know, you have watered down and filtered down with your higher self, like, I didn't say that, stupid. You're lying on me. So you have to become good at grabbing that first thought. So that yin and yang meditation we talked about, you can do the same thing for listening to God for the first 15 minutes. Just listen to God. And the first thought that comes to mind, you grab it and just start writing it down. Have like a devotional journal. And then listen to your higher self for 15 minutes. The first thing is going to say, well, did I say yes? Don't pull an Urkel. Did I say that? Pumpkin, do you know who Urkel is? I don't know, like slam dancing. And Chris, you had to explain the slam dancing. That makes me real old. You got to explain the slam dancing. Probably have to explain what's Urkel. Is it a food? It's not a food. It's not a food. So if you miss your old life, you can ask yourself, what were those components that I loved? Certain things are details, but what you loved was feeling like you were having an impact on other people. What you loved was that someone had a connection with you. What you loved was unlimited possibilities. What you love was maybe freedom. So these are all things that we can have again. We just have to search for those things versus reminiscing on those details. And it's just a freedom to let go. Let go. Like you got something hot, a pot in your hand that's hot. You can scream, ah, let it go. Ah, no. Oh, okay. It's still going to hurt, but now you're going to be able to heal. Okay. Does anyone have any comments, questions, suggestions? Are there any other areas that haven't been discussed that people will want to heal from? And how do you, I'll throw out some stuff. How do you know the difference between a mental hurt and a emotional hurt? Are those the same thing? Can you have a spiritual hurt too? If you know about the chakras, the light centers, the belief is that if one of those are off over time, that something manifests either into a physical problem, an emotional problem, or a mental problem. So let's say your root chakra is off. And because your root chakra is off, which means survival, maybe you tend to be a little stingy in nature. And because of that, that morphs into physically, maybe you have something happen where your body isn't getting enough of something. So you're physically getting ill. Or maybe you get to the point where you start having phobias of people trying to attack you or come after you. So you can fix the cause. Maybe somebody can give you a pill or you can get a surgery. But if at the root, your root is still jacked up, it's just going to come back again. So your ability to do a self-assessment on how you can self-heal is important. And if you can't do a self-assessment, then talk to somebody. On Fridays, I have time laid out for anybody who wants to meet and talk. If you need a reading, if you need something for someone to look at things from a wider perspective, we're here for you. That's why we have this group. If something is wrong with my body, I'm gonna go to a doctor. I'm a punk, by the way, just to let you know. Something like I'm not like a typical guy. Something, oh, I got a split. I think we need to go to a splinter specialist, honey. That's what I'm saying to my wife. If something is wrong with my mind, I'm gonna go to a psychologist, right? Something wrong with your body, you're gonna go to an MD. Who do you go to when something's wrong with your spirit? Who do you go to? So our ability to take a look at our chakras, our energy centers, to meditate, to make sure that our crown is fully engaged. Some things can be off and wrong that you just can't put your finger on it. You just can't say, oh, this is a medical problem, but you know it's there. You know it's there. It can't show up in an x-ray, but you feel it. You're just off balance. Maybe it's spiritual. And if it's spiritual, it definitely can be fixed, because every problem starts off as a spiritual one And then it either manifests into a physical, mental, or emotional one, unless someone did something to you, right? Okay. 7 minutes left. Questions. Okay. Where can I find a list of things to help tap into strength and intuition? Okay, great question, Brent. So I'll give you one example of mine that I did that helped me out tremendously. And my psychic abilities went through the roof. So I'm a corporate trainer, which means a lot of impromptu things. So I saw something called business improv, like improv comedy. And I went there. And when I went through, I thought they were going to teach you how to be funny. No, they taught you how not to hold back, to speak the first thing that comes into your mind, like a Will Ferrell. All right, this guy's getting paid millions of dollars because he just doesn't hold back. Whatever pops in his mind comes out. And when I started going through those exercises, improv, it's like I felt a soft snap inside of me. And then whoosh, all this information started coming through and I no longer held back. So doing something that requires creativity, it could be dance, it could be modern dance, it could be hip hop, something that's just in the flow where you just go. All of these things rely on your intuition and which way to go. Something else you can do is you can make a list of questions that you don't know the answer to, but you can find the answer to. And you can ask yourself those questions and then note what the answer is and where does the answer come from. So if I say to you, how many people are in my house right now? And you search yourself to find the answer. Well, you don't know that right now, but you can ask me. And the answer is 3. 3.5 if you count the dog. Don't get mad at me because I gave the dog half. The dog ain't paying no mortgage up in here. So you get half. You get a job, I give him the other half. Just saying. So you can do things like that to tap into your intuition. Okay. And to make it stronger, you have to use it. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger you get. And guess what? You're gonna be wrong. There's some people that got some straight up psychic abilities, but they're like, I don't want to be wrong. I'm just afraid. Like, what's gonna happen? It's like the psychic boogeyman gonna come out and like smack your hand. Like Candyman. I just saw that yesterday. You can't say his name 5 times. It's still scary. This was the first date I went on with my wife. Going to see Candyman. Pumpkin Candyman was a horror movie that was made like in 1994. All right, cool. 4 more minutes left. Let me see what we got. I'm going to run down these comments because I don't know if you can see them either.
I can. Can I answer a couple of them?
Yeah. You saw them already?
I did. Yep. So 4 minutes. Let's see what's really important. A couple of things about saying no, because I've seen a couple of comments about being able to say no. So the guides give me this visual all the time. They say that when we pass on, after we have our reunion, we sit down with our guides and our team, and we go over what we learned, basically how to go, but in a very, very intense way. And so this is called a life review. And not only do you feel everything again there with your teachers there, experience everything again, which I know that's scary to some of you, but I promise you'll see it from a bigger, more beautiful perspective, but how they show me. But they're showing you that you go through your life again to figure out how it went. But what's a key component is that you get this additional thing that because we're all one, but we're pretending we're not, we get that component once we pass on. And so what happens is when you're re-experiencing things, you also get to feel what everyone else felt in that situation. So how they explain it to me is that, so when we re-experience this day, I am going to feel everything that I gave you guys through my intention. This is the key, okay? This is the key. I felt it through my intention. This is why it's always the best to have the best intentions, because you're going to feel what you gave everyone. This could be like hell for some people. If you were a terrible person and you have to feel what you gave someone in your afterlife, that's going to feel pretty bad for a while. And it continues on. So whatever you gave that they passed on and they passed on, you feel all of that. So the point of this is saying, live your life with the best intentions. So when you have to say no, if your intention is just to listen to your guidance, if your intention is to do what's right for you, if your intention is to prevent yourself from physical harm or emotional, stressed out, burned out, if you're just doing what's best for you, and that's your intention, when you say no, when you say, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to decline in a respectful way, then if your intention is pure, if it's good, then there's nothing to worry about. You can let it go from there. If you're not being mean about it, if you're being honest with yourself, then it will be fine. The problem is when you're not honest with yourself and you say yes for all the wrong reasons. You don't really want to. So you then don't worry about what other people think and what they're going to say and what they're going to do. You can only worry about your intention. And if your intention is good and pure, then it will be fine. So hopefully that when you go to that situation where you have to say no, hopefully you can just imagine your intention is the best. And I'm just going to respectfully decline. Self-love. We might be out of time, Will. Maybe we add that. That's a huge topic. Maybe we add that as a whole day. I don't know. They have a lot of ideas about self-love. What do you think? We go over, or are we done? What are we doing?
I'll leave that up to you because I'm finishing up an answer from one of the chats. And
okay, we'll just
finish typing.
We'll hit the tip of the iceberg then.
Okay.
So with self-love, none of us love ourselves enough. Not one single human on the planet loves themselves enough. There might be really egotistical people out there. That's different. What they're saying is that you should, every single day, you should incorporate ways to love yourself more. And here's a good start. One, spend some quality time looking at yourself in the mirror, in your eyes, and say, I love you. That's hard for some people. Spend a real quality time telling yourself in the mirror, I love you, and genuinely meaning it. There's going to be some things that boil up that need to be addressed for many of you, and do that work. Next, let's say that you really just don't know how to love yourself at all. They say start with this. Think of the people that you really admire, that you really look up to, that you respect, that you love, and you ask, what are those qualities that I love in them? And then try to be that, try to do that, try to, if you love that someone always shows up every week with cookies for, your group or whatever, and you love that, well, then show up with cookies. And then what you find is when you start doing things that you love in other people, you're like, oh, well, I am a good person. I do those things. I am a good person. And you can look back over a little bit of time and love those things about yourself. And likewise, if you see things you don't like, especially if you already know there's things about yourself that you don't like, quit doing them. Don't do them anymore. If you know you don't like yourself being a gossip, quit gossiping. Stop today. Then you can love yourself for recognizing something you don't like about yourself and changing it. But if you recognize in others stuff that I don't care for that, I don't want to be that, by you not being that, then you can look back over time and say, I love myself for not being what I don't like and being what I do like. That over time develops a self-love. Now, they know that's just the start, but those are some practices that you can try this week.
I'm going to hop in here and just kind of put a recap on what you just said. I think us having something on how do you love yourself more, even for people that have a positive outlook on their lives, I think that's helpful. I would love to see what comes out of that. And for people who are trying to learn how to say no, my mom is really good at this, and she had to learn the hard way. Okay, so if I had the martyr complex, that's because I inherited that sucker. My mom picked up this old lady and her kid when I was probably like 5 years old or something like that. And it was raining. Mom was like, oh, let me just give this lady a ride and stuff like that. That lady robbed my mom. My mom was some kind of hot. She robbed my mama, but she robbed my mama of more than just money. She robbed my mother of the openness to give to somebody else too. And then it had to be an adjustment, because if you get burnt in any way, sometimes it's our thing to like overcompensate, right? And you got to find that right place. The best thing to do is ask questions. What do I see, know, feel, or think that gives me confidence that this is a safe space for me to be in? What do I see, know, feel, or believe that lets me know that this person is trustworthy? And when the answer is, then that means we need to keep on walking. I put some stuff in the chat in terms of questions you can use as defense and putting it back on the other person, because people who are self-centered, that only are locked in their own pain, they're not going to be thinking about you. So you asking questions of them could be very useful for you to get them to talk themselves out of asking you those tough questions. And when you listen to the answers, something is snapping you like, wait a minute, this person asked me for this. They're a jerk when you hear the responses. So when was the last time you asked me? Well, I've never helped anybody, but you should do this for me. That's what you're supposed to do. Okay. All right. I think I'm supposed to change my phone number so you can't call me no more. That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to change my number. I'm going to change something. Change my friendships. Cool. So look, I love you all. I appreciate the energy, the questions in the chat, the comments. Next week, we're set up to have a topic on spiritual covenant. What is it and how can it help or hurt you? This is a spiritual covenant. When people come together, like if somebody's hating on you, you got 3 or 4 people hating on you. That's a spiritual covenant of hate. You got 3 or 4 people loving up on you. Like I had a big deal coming through. I had 7 people. And every morning we were manifesting and meditating on having a positive outcome for me. You can do that too. We can do that here with the group. You can hit me up. Helen's like, look, Will, I got this big thing coming up. Okay. I'm going to manifest. I'm not just going to pray. Oh, Lord, baby, Jesus, somebody, Krishna, Buddha, help her. All right, I got to go eat my chicken. I'm going to use my meditation skills and try to manifest something good. It even says in the Bible, 3 or more people get together in my name. And if you look at it in a wider spectrum, it's around group meditation. But I think I know I'm going to add in, figure out a way to say, how can we love ourselves more too, and combine the topic. 4 people signed up for it. And I don't want those 4 people to be mad at me and fussing at me like I was fussing about that lady who cut me off on the highway. Oh, no, he didn't. He put that in there and I just blocked out my Sunday. And now he's going to be talking about loving myself. I'm going to love myself not to come here no more. All right, cool. I'm crazy. It's Sunday. I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of your week. Michelle, you rocked it again. I appreciate it. And we'll see you all next week. where we talk about love. All you need is love.
Thank you guys for coming.